Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another segment of US Open 2022 favorites. And today we're going to be talking about Simona Halep, arguably one of, if not the favorite going into this year's US Open. We're going to break down her stats from the hard court season this year, her form generally this year as well, her playing style, and how I think she's going to fare at the US Open as well. So let's get into it. First of all, the 30-year-old is ranked number 7 in the world at the moment and has got a new coach in Patrick Mouratoglou as well. Winter loss in singles this year, 39 and 10, so not too bad at all, including 2 titles. And that does include one of the titles recently where she won in Toronto. Didn't manage to play Cincinnati because she pulled out in the first round due to a little niggle. I think mainly just precautionary. That's a bit of a shame, I think, for her because the balls used in Cincinnati are exactly the same as the balls used at the US Open. And the surface also plays pretty similar nowadays as well. So that would have been a good yardstick to really see where she was at. But obviously a very good win in Canada, so she'll take a lot of confidence going into the US Open, and especially given the rest of the field are not playing particularly well either. It's very open. For her, she's so experienced. Of course, a 2-time Grand Slam champion, winning Wimbledon twice in what can only be described as an extremely good couple of runs as well. And she's a strong performer, as she has always been. She's experienced at 30 years of age. And what's been pretty promising, I would say, is that her winter loss record on hard courts this year is probably the best it's been since 2018. It's 26 and 7, which is very good. So that is something to look out for, I guess, in terms of does she come into this tournament with potentially one of the best opportunities to win another Grand Slam and win a slam, and win a slam where its name is not Wimbledon, potentially. When we look at her results at the US Open as well, she hasn't always had the best results, I have to say. She's definitely been better. I mean, her best tournament is Wimbledon. She won Wimbledon once, and won Roland Garros the other time. So she's won 2 Grand Slams, one at Wimbledon, one at Roland Garros, so 2 different surfaces. The one surface and the one surface remaining, I guess, for her is the hard courts. So semi-finals in 2015 and one other quarterfinal in 2016, but that's it. Apart from that, it's pretty barren. She made the 4th round last year, and she was heavily strapped, and she was definitely injured. She had some sort of niggle, so that will be promising for her because she'll be thinking, okay, look, I made the 4th round last year, and I was barely able to play. That's a very good sign for her chances this year. In terms of her game as well, how does Simona Halep, how does her game translate onto these courts? So there's a few different things to cater in. So I think for me, when she's serving potently and making a lot of first serves is when she's at her best, because one of only really a couple, a handful, if that, of weaknesses she has is a second serve. A lot of people attack it. She tried to improve it. It's still very slow. She manages to get away with it at times because her defensive capability is incredible. She's an all-rounder. She is. She's someone who defensively is very good, and when she's fully fit like she is now, or at least she's not carrying an injury from what we know, like she has done so in the past, for about a year and a half, she was carrying niggles and injuries and wasn't able to move as well. She is able to move really well right now, and that means that she defensively is very, very sound. She moves so well across. I think she just makes ground so quickly across the court, not just laterally, but also up and down as well. I think her movement is one of the best on tour for sure. And that's a massive advantage, of course, especially when you're grinding from the back of the court, which a lot of the girls do tend to do as baseliners. Then I guess we can talk about her weapons, her attributes. So her forehand and backhand are both very potent. I mean, she can hit winners off both wings. Her backhand up the line when that's firing, she's in really good form, and that is such a good shot when she hits it. I mean, especially when she's hitting it sweetly, it is a pleasure to watch and behold. Her net game, I mean, she can come to the net and volley. She's not the biggest proponent for transitioning and coming to the net. You'll never really see her say serve volley, mainly because she doesn't have a big enough serve, honestly. And then her returning is natural. It's one of the biggest facets to her game. Returns incredibly well, and just the depth she's able to hit a lot of the balls with in the rallies. In neutral rallies, she tends to come out on top because she hits a lot of balls deep, not necessarily even into corners, but deep enough, penetrates through the court well enough that she forces a lot of errors out of opponents. And that's what is a massive advantage for someone like Simona Halep, because she doesn't need to just rely on power like some other girls do, or necessarily even angles. But she finds good angles on the forehand and backhand side as well. She's able to hit high topspin and also loop your ball if needed. Defensively, she can also flatten it out as well. So she's got those variations. Backhand slice as well in the tool bag, which is useful, especially on a slower hard court, you might say. Or, well, I guess it's not particularly slow, but on a hard court generally, of course, it's going to bounce higher than grass, but it's a good variation to have. And defensively, as I mentioned previously, she's very, very good. And that means that she will make you play an extra shot, at least, if not two, as an opponent. And that can be very, very frustrating. And she's coming off a very good win in Toronto. She's in some great form. She's hitting the ball very cleanly. She's timing it well. She's clearly feeling good about herself at the moment. And I feel like her being the second favorite behind Iga Swiatek, which I think a lot of people have said, does make a lot of sense, and I can see why that would be the case. Swiatek, even then, I mean, I know she's had a great year, but her recent form hasn't been great. So some people might even have Simona Halep as the one to win. I talked to Cam Williams from Tennis Talk, and he was saying to me, you know what, I think Simona will win. So there's a lot of not hype, but I think expectation on her to go far. She's never won the tournament. So is this a big opportunity? It is, because there is no Ash Barty. Osaka, for example, is outside the top 50. She could get someone really difficult in the first round or two. Not just that, but she's not playing the type of tennis we associate with her. Serena's playing her last Grand Slam. She's not the player she once was. It's extremely open there for the taking, and it very well may be someone like Simona Halep who has the experience and has the form to grab the ball by both horns and say, you know what, I'm gonna take this opportunity with open hands. Anything else to talk about for her? I guess. Well, last year, as I said, made the fourth round. It was a good little run considering the state of what she was in at the time, and I just feel that for me, if we're looking at stats at the moment as well, I've just got them up here. Like first serves in 62%, which is pretty good. First serve points won 69.4%. It's not bad, but 47.8% of points won behind second serve is quite good. Break point save 59.6%. And what's this? First return points won 43.3%, 60.1% behind second serve return. Pretty good. Return points won generally 50%, which is very, very good. Very good. And return games won almost 50%. She's at 48.2%, which is extremely good. And those are her stats, I think, for 2022. So just shows how natural a returner she is, to be honest with you. And look, she's going to be a nightmare for anyone if she's serving well, because as I said, her return game is so good and so potent. And if she engages with you and is able to get into a rally, she will try to dictate and just make it really uncomfortable for you. She won't necessarily hit a huge amount of winners, but she won't make many errors at all. And I feel like she's the type of player that will force errors out of someone, and that's what is even more frustrating as a player because you're not getting many errors from your opponent, and then you feel like you're making errors you shouldn't be. So for Simona, there's a lot of to be positive about. I would say she should be making the semi-finals at least. If that's my prediction on it and my view on it, I think she should be getting there at least. So equaling her best result at the US Open as a minimum is what I'm looking at. And I wouldn't be surprised if she makes the final. I also wouldn't be surprised if she wins it. But there's still a long way to go, of course. She could get a terrible draw. And then, we're all thinking, what's going on? So, Simona Halep, that's my thoughts on her. Let me know what you think. How far do you think she's going to go? Is she the favourite, or is she rightly so behind someone like a Swiatek? And do you see her winning the US Open and completing the different surfaces different surfaces slam, even if that's even a thing? Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you on the next video.